Hi, my name's Juhli Caldwell and I'm an artist. I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia in 1960 and began studying art on my father's knee. I started studying watercolor at age 8 and then went on to study oil painting and 14th century techniques of making gesso. I'd like to present to you my latest body of work called New Directions. I'd like to take you on a virtual tour of this latest show. My painting technique these days explores the glazing layers of acrylic color and bringing to life the energies that I find around me in nature.
Hello, my name is Liz Mantle, and I want to welcome you to 113 Vermilion, downtown Princeton, the home of Princeton Community Art Council's Community Gallery. I'm going to take you on a virtual tour of Juhli Caldwell's art.
The watercolors that I've been pursuing are a blast from the past, brought back from my childhood. I decided to start to pursue watercolor again, and in September I went to France and took a course in watercolors. These three represent the studies that I was able to complete so far, and I hope that I will be able to continue to do these watercolors on paper and perhaps at a show. The path is an acoustic piece of 4 components. These 4 components represent the whole of a larger piece. What I was trying to do with this is utilize the idea of connectivity through a pathway, which is represented in yellow, and how even though separate portions can all have different paths within themselves, when you put them together, they represent a greater whole. In the fall of 2019, I had the great opportunity to work with Jan Crawford, a fellow Vancouver artist, on a project with 8 other ladies to produce a series of art that would grace the walls of Princeton General Hospital's new corridor. That painting that I began is still at Princeton General Hospital. From there, I moved on and did a series of 4 paintings altogether, and 3 of which are represented here. They follow the map of this encaustic painting. So the first one is in the hospital, and these 3 are represented in an evolving style here. The first one is this one, and it's the idea that the pathways join all the pieces together, but I wasn't hemmed in to a style. I allowed my style to evolve. I allowed the paintings to become what they would become. As you can see, there's some high energy marks on here, and I allowed that high energy marks to develop through veils of clear glazes of color on top of each other, that as we look into it, in some way may distract us from our woes and take us on a journey of soul healing. This is the last painting in that series and represents the last painting that I worked on in the series. It is a culmination of where I got to in the artistic process of layering of color and creating form and using design elements to give the viewer an opportunity to, should we say, get lost in the depths of color and line and form. The Bath 2 represents the culmination of all four of the previously described paintings presented in one piece. Persephone's Return is a painting that calls up images from my unconscious. It is one area that I'm interested in is Greek mythology, and Persephone's Return I wanted to test out my glazing technique on another subject. So I used this subject, which came out, it wasn't planned, this is how it arrives from my unconscious, it develops and turns into a picture or not. This one did, and it became Persephone's Return. This painting, titled The Ferryman, or Charon, is also a painting from my subconscious. In the surrealist style, this painting evolved from lines and marks on the panel in much the same way that Da Vinci looked at water spots on walls in order to create paintings. View of the Similkameen Valley from the ranch is one example of the type of landscape work that I've been working on here in Princeton. I've done some plein air studies of the Okanagan Valley, wineries, and Princeton, and we'll continue to build this body of work and hopefully have a show at a later date. Lake Swim is my largest encaustic piece so far. It combines the elements of Damar varnish with beeswax in a melting hot wax technique, along with pieces of rice paper that have been printed and stenciled on and then immersed and embedded into the painting itself. So it's very textural, and the only upkeep it has on encaustic is to be buffed with a nylon whenever it gets dusty to bring back its luster. This technique has been around since 2500 BC. It was used for portraiture on coffins in Egypt. And after seeing those paintings in the Louvre in September, I can vouch that the colors maintain their brilliance and luminosity even 2500 years later.
Filming? Yeah.
These baskets are made from locally collected windfall from ponderosa pines, natural sinew, bone, and stone beads. One basket takes me about 8 hours to do.
Thank you for taking our virtual tour of Julie Caldwell's wonderful artwork. I want to thank all of our volunteers that work for the Princeton Community Arts Council, and I want to thank our funding agents, the BC Gaming Grants, the Town of Princeton, and the British Columbia Council of Arts. Thank you very much for making this space possible for the public of Princeton and Area H to enjoy.